Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be doing my current everyday makeup look using the JACLYN Hill palette. So right here I'm using the Milani Prime Correct Face Primer for all skin tones, and it says it's oil free, which is very good for my skin tone because I tend to get a little greasy throughout the day. So I'm just putting this all over my face, paying extra attention to around my nose and forehead where I tend to get more oil throughout the day. And then I'm going in with the Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. It says you can use this for prime, correcting, and setting. So I use this once before I put on my makeup, as well as a couple times throughout, and then of course at the end. Alright, so I'm using the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 Foundation and Concealer. I'm in the shade 00BB Nude. And I'm just taking this with my dampened Real Techniques Beauty Sponge, and I'm putting this all over my face, making sure to blend down my neck and a little on my chest. As I'm recording my first ever YouTube video, of course my mom is in the background making me laugh the entire time. So you just want to make sure that's blended all in your hairline, down your jaw and neck, and make sure that you didn't miss any spots with your foundation so it does not look patchy or you don't have any discoloration. Okay, so once you've got that all blended out, I'm going to go in with concealer. This is the Born This Way by Too Faced in the shade Fair. And I'm going to put that under my eyes where I need most brightening. My forehead where I've got a little breakout, and just to highlight that area. And then I always like to take some down my nose to help with a little bit of nose contour, which you'll see me do in just a minute. Okay, so now after I put on Too Faced concealer, I like to add a little bit of the Hard Candy Glamouflage Heavy Duty Concealer. I believe I'm using the lightest shade, but I just like to add a little bit of this for an extra coverage, and it's super bright, and a little bit goes a long way. So I just like to put that under my eyes to just give it an extra little pop and make me look more awake. So I'm going in with the same dampened beauty sponge, and I like to put my concealer on my eyelids, being extra careful of my eyelash extensions because I don't want to crush them or get too much product in them, which I try to avoid, but it's still really hard sometimes. But I like to use concealer on my eyelids as a nice base, and then I set it with powder, as you'll see. And I like to do that instead of using an eyeshadow primer. Okay, so once your concealer is all blended out and where you want it to be, I like to take the Milani Translucent Light to Medium Setting Powder. It says it absorbs oil and mattifies, which is huge for me. It's in the shade 1, and I like to put a little extra with the same dampened beauty sponge underneath my eyes and my forehead and around my nose where I'll get extra greasy throughout the day, and it will just sit there for a few minutes before I wipe it off. And that will make your makeup last longer, and then, like I said, the mattifying effects help with the oil I tend to get in those areas. So you'll see me use it kind of excessively, but it's for a reason. Since no one likes a greasy sister, I go back in with just a regular old powder brush that I've had for years. I think it's a Flower brand, just from the drugstore. And I use the same Milani setting powder, and I just bake it all over my face. And make sure that you are patting your powder into your wet foundation, not rubbing it in circular motions or back and forth, because remember, your foundation is still wet, and that will make it very streaky and have very bad discoloration throughout the day. So now I'm just going in with a Real Techniques sculpting brush and the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil Light to Medium Matte Bronzer, and I'm just doing a very harsh, it's messy at first. I just like to slap it on, and then I go out and blend after I have it where I want it. Hi Mom. Thanks for your YouTube support. Love you always. So I didn't quite like how the bronzer slash contour was looking on this side of my face. So I went ahead and added just a little bit more to intensify and even it out with the other side. So here I am just taking that same flower brush that I used for my powder and just blending out those harsh lines, making it look a little more natural and not so crazy. So after most of my face is done, here I am taking the Milani Make It Last setting spray and just doing a nice coat and making sure that it's dry before I am touching my face. And then I am going in with a Morphe M431 brush and dipping back into that Too Faced bronzer and just doing a little bit of nose contour. So you'll see the closer the two lines together on your nose, the smaller your nose is going to appear. So I don't like to make mine super close together. So with my Morphe brush, I do kind of the harsh lines for my nose contour, and then I go back in with the same powder brush. I'm not putting any more product on it and just blending it out to make it look a little bit more natural. I'm going in with the ColourPop Brow Boss pencil in the shade Brunette. And I'm just doing little strokes to make them look similar to hair as they possibly can be. I have not mastered the eyebrow situation whatsoever. Like, they are not even sisters. They probably will never be twins. They're maybe first cousins at this point, but maybe someday I'll get it figured out. So enjoy watching me struggle with my eyebrows to end up with them very uneven in the end anyways. For some reason, this brow is always the hardest for me. I'm not sure why, but also the pencil was not working on the end, like the tail end of my eyebrow for some reason in the beginning, so I had to push kind of hard. I don't recommend doing that, but I kind of had to because it was just not working out. I love the spoolie on the end of the ColourPop pencil. It is very good. One of the best things I found for blending out my brows. Okay, so now for the best part, which is eyes, and of course I'm going to be using the JACLYN Hill Morphe palette that I finally got my hands on, and I'm just going in with a Morphe M441 brush into the shade Silk Cream in the palette, which is third one in the top row. And I'm just taking this and putting it all in my crease. It doesn't really matter where this goes. You can be pretty messy with it. It's just going to be a nice transition shade for us. So as you can see, I'm just using windshield wiper motion back and forth in my crease with this pretty fluffy brush just to get a nice base and transition color. So when we go into the darker shades, it's not going to be such a huge contrast between your natural skin and the darker colors. So next I'm dipping into the shade Pooter, which is the third one in on the second row, and I'm just using that same brush, blowing off a little bit of the product if you pick up too much, and I'm just focusing this deeper into the crease, so a little bit lower of where we put the Silk Cream shade, and just taking the excess and moving it towards the center of my eye, focusing most of the product on the outer edge. Alright, so now I'm taking the Morphe M321 brush and I'm dipping into the shades Chip and Mocha, just doing a little mix of those two, and I'm going to focus this deep into the crease on the very outside edge. So just making the third color in our transition, and I'm going to put this on a little harsh and then go back in and blend it again with the M441. So it's okay to do this nice and tight, nice and dark, and a little messy as long as you go back in and blend it out. So you still get that dark color with a nice transition of the lighter shades. Alright, so once you've got the harsh dark shade all blended out, I'm going in with the Morphe M431 brush, and I'm dipping into the shade Little Lady, and I'm just putting this all over the lid, getting as close to my lash extensions as I can and all the way in the inside corner. So this is just adding that brightness and that pop of shimmer that you can just, it's super easy to do for an everyday look. And then I'm going back in with the M441 brush and just blending that out back into the light browns and dark browns that we used there in the crease. And then I'm taking again that little M431 brush, and I like to do a little mixture of Enlight and Beam, which are the two lightest shades in the palette in the upper left hand corner. And I use that for the inner corner highlight, so I just pack that right into the corner of my eyes. And then I take a cheap, flat, very old, who knows what brand this brush is, probably e.l.f. I think. And I do my mixture of Enlight and Beam again. And I just like to put that underneath my brow and then go back in with one of your blending brushes and just make sure that there's no harsh line between your highlight under your brow and then the transition color that we originally put on the crease there. So then I go in with the original shade, I think I used Pooter here, and then I just put that underneath my waterline to connect the top of my smoked outness, I don't know what you call it, to kind of just bring the look together and make it really blown out. It's super easy trick to do, make your makeup look a lot better. And then I just go in with the telescopic mascara and I put this on my bottom lashes. So if you have lash extensions like I do, you know doing eye makeup can be very hard on them. See, I'm losing a couple, but you have to make sure that you are brushing out your eyelashes and keeping them clean. So after I do my makeup, I take a spoolie and I get all of the makeup I may have gotten on them off. Sometimes I have to use water and baby soap to get my lashes clean, but I make sure to get it all off. And then I dust off any excess fallout and put a little extra of that Milani powder under my eyes just to keep it a little brighter. And then I go in with a Morphe brush and I do my mixture of Enlight and Beam again. And I just highlight my cheekbones, top of my forehead, down the center of my nose, tip of my nose, Cupid's bow, and a little bit of my chin. So you want to put your highlight on the highest points of your face and where you want attention drawn to. Now once I have my highlight on, I go back in with my powder brush, no more product on it, and I just blend that out to make it look a little less harsh so there's no weird lines. And then here I am soaking my face with the setting powder. Make sure it's completely dry. I found it works better if you fan your face rather than just waiting for the setting spray to dry. And here I am going in with the NYX Lingerie. I love these so much. They last me throughout the day. No problems whatsoever. Full coverage. They do not get cakey. And they have so many shades. Here I am using the shade Lace Detail. I highly recommend these if you're looking for a good lip. So thank you for watching. Enjoy my weirdness, and I will see you in the next one.